Hey, it's Anthony Valadez, host of GP360, a Grand Performances podcast where together we will explore the past, the present, and the future of free public access to the performing arts at the California Plaza on Grand Avenue. It is our home for nearly 4 decades, and in the spirit of inspiring community, celebrating diversity, and uniting our beautiful city, we'll sit down with the community members and creatives who have graced the California Plaza stage to reflect on past performances and upcoming shows, but make sure you visit grandperformances.org to learn more about Grand Performances, upcoming lineups, and to celebrate the 40 years of beautiful and free music, artistry, and the connection beneath the LA skyline. What you're listening to is not just a virtuoso behind his nylon guitar, but a 2-time Grammy-nominated artist. This year, Ciro Hurtado is nominated for Best Global Music Performance, and we're rooting for him. Why? Well, because he's one of the first artists to ever grace the stage of Grand Performances exactly 40 years ago. We'll talk about that historic night. We'll tap into his influences as a young kid out of Peru who was curious, picked up the camera. We talk about his plan A, his plan B in life, his relationship to the changing city of Los Angeles, and he taps into how other immigrants inspired his sound, the LA Chicano art scene of the 80s, and so much more. We hope you enjoy this beautiful episode, once again with the Grammy-nominated artist of the time of this recording, Ciro Hurtado. Ciro Hurtado. People say your name differently, don't they? I've noticed.
They call me mainly Ciro, or somehow people read my name and they call me Cairo.
Cairo?
Yeah, Cairo many times. And, you know, it's been like zero. Sometimes they say zero, or like, all right, you know, that's a great name.
Why is that a great name?
Because with Z.
Okay.
Yeah, Zero, like a zero, because I guess it's a cool name. I would be a bad boy.
You are a bad boy.
No,
I think you kind of are in a sense. You've always struck me as somebody who's regimented in your ways of creativity and your sound. You don't jump on trends. So therefore, I think you are a bad boy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's true. I've been doing exactly the same things since the very beginning. Really, I haven't changed for anything. I don't compromise. I do exactly what I like to do. If my pieces are, if the radio requests 3 minutes, my pieces were 10 minutes, and I've been doing that for a long time. So I don't follow trends. I just do what I like to do.
Where does that come from?
I think that comes from the respect that I have for the music that I do, comes from the respect that I have for the work I put into it, for respect for other musicians. And especially, I think, for my culture, I come from Peru. I think we never thought of really the folk aspect of me speaking right now. We never thought of really conforming to certain rules, for broadcast or anything like that. So that's why.
In a way, I would say that's punk rock.
Well, do you know that the first punk rock band came from Peru? Los Psychos, 1963. They started with the song Demolere. And now it's an anthem, for punk rock bands. I mean, they're just being rediscovered after so many years. And now I think it's psychedelic. I'm trying to associate that psychos, like psycho. They would perform, and I remember one of them, the guy saying, they were playing in Cusco at a festival. They were doing their wild thing because he would go down on the floor and sing with the microphone, something that wasn't done at that time in 1963. And I remember someone threw a bottle at them and hit him on his head and started bleeding. And all of a sudden, he picked up his blood and started throwing it at people. And the rest of the band were completely amazed at what was going on. I said, wow, we never seen anything like that. So that was like punk, the beginning, even before London,
It's like the Peruvian Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Tell me about how the Beatles and the American influence worked its way into Peru.
The Beatles pretty much arrived, or Beatlemania arrived in all over the world at the same time, 1963, because of the radio. So it arrived in Peru. And before that, I had listened to Leslie Gore, Connie Francis, Neil Sedaka, Paul Anka, a little puppy. And all of a sudden, I hear on the radio, "She Loves You." And I said, what's that? I mean, and it was completely different. I was excited about that music. I really like that music. I think it talk to my generation, although I didn't understand what they were saying because I just couldn't speak English at that time. But that's how it arrived. It arrived in Peru because of the radio. And another trivia, I mean, you're asking me these questions. There was this show on the radio called La Hora de los Beatles, Pepe Barreto. And then he moved to the United States and he came to work in Radio Amor. And he had a show many years later. And he's the first Peruvian who got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Since we're talking about your journey in the radio, do you remember that first time you heard yourself on the radio? What was that feeling like?
At that time, we recorded in the studios of Radio Miraflores. The radio stations had their own studios, recording studios. Somehow, we got involved with another band that they were maybe 10 years older than we were, and they had a studio, and the guy was the engineer, and he heard us. He says, that's a great song, come and record. This is the very first time entering the studio and sitting down in front of the control room, the recorders and all of that, the board, and listening to a playback stereo of these big machines, huge machines. I just couldn't believe the sound. I mean, it was an acoustic guitar, steel string, and I thought they were like bells, like pling, pling, pling. I mean, really like shiny. It's almost like a three-dimensional thing, the actual sound of high quality, high fidelity that I had never heard before in my life. So that was very amazing. And then we recorded. I didn't know. We were 2 days, like until 3 a.m. recorded one song. The song came out on a lacquer. It was not produced commercially, but enough to be sent to radio stations. And then I heard it for the very first time, and my mother, my father, my whole family, everybody started talking. They heard me on the radio. Let me tell you the second time. The second time was here, like 20 years later. I did my first album, solo album, and I was on Sunset Strip driving. They played Ciro Hurtado, The Way. I had to stop and really to calm down.
What did that feel like, coming to the United States and hearing your song while driving, being on Sunset Boulevard? I mean, that sounds like a movie.
Yes, it was amazing. I mean, they say, the dreams come true. I think that part of my life came to existence. I mean, I understood why I had come here, why I worked so hard in my music, and finally, it was being pretty much distributed, discovered by other people, by a new generation.
Yeah. What were the challenges when you came to Los Angeles?
I was very fortunate to come. I flew on an airplane and all of that. I came with a visa, student to study. I wanted to be a rock star. I mean, the Beatles, Los Angeles rock star. So I came. And then I remember going to the Whiskey A Go-Go, to Starwood, and seeing those pretty boys, tall, blonde, with makeup. I just didn't fit, because I still at that time I haven't seen the Latinos, punks, or the, all of Lobos and all of those people. So, but I figured, no, it's not gonna work. So I went to school, to GIT, Guitar Institute of Technology, and I started studying jazz with all these session players at that time. And then that opened my eyes to world music, because there were so many people from different countries. So I listened to, Indian music, from Iran, from Latin America, all over Latin America. So that's how I started working on global music.
Did you find your Latino tribe here in Los Angeles, the music community?
Yes, because at that time, during the 80s, there was the migration from Central America because of the war. There were a lot of Salvadorians. And in fact, that's how I started the band I formed later on, because there was a lot of interesting music, nueva canción. So I met my mates at Café Cultural in East Los Angeles. It was a small cafe with a library and records, I remember, and then you would go and perform. So I think I went and performed. I saw some other Colombiano, Mexicano performing, and I got together with all these Latinos and made a band and started performing.
And then how did you get the connection to grand performances?
We started playing quite a bit in Los Angeles with Guayucaltia. We just didn't fit any bill, so because it wasn't even folk music or Latin American music. So we got to perform in so many places. I think people heard us. So I think that was the connection to grand performances. And Michael Alexander and Liang Han, I think they heard of us. And we opened the very first show. Poncho Sanchez, and it was us. And I remember going to sound check, and there were the fountains, just shooting the water going up there. All of a sudden, there was a malfunction. We were sound checking with all, and the water started coming towards us from behind. So very quickly we had to pick up everything so not to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
So we had to move it to the side. So that's the very first day we performed at Grand Performance.
What was LA like at that time when you performed at Grand Performances? Do you remember?
Yes, I mean we were the new kids, you know, the happening thing. So it was the younger crowd were coming to see us. It was very experimental. I mean there was a lot of I think at that time there was these artists, you know, of downtown who were having lofts and they were creating, you know, multimedia. There was Asco, you know, Patsy Valdez, Gamboa, all those people, Gronk. You know, I would go to parties and I would meet them. So there was a whole very cool, very, very nice. I got to live that era of Los Angeles, you know, with a lot of creative people who some of them became huge and they are, you know, they are icons really in Los Angeles.
What was the crowd like? Was it a combination of families and people and the cool crowd, or what was the crowd like?
Well, the crowd who came to see us, they were like parents, young parents and their kids. Now those kids are following me. Because I remember my parents used to take me to see you, you know, or dad died, and things like that. I mean, we have your first album. So it was like that. At the beginning, it was young couples with their kids. And then there was also the artistic side, you know, the cool people who came to see us also.
You've played many times.
Yeah, quite a few times with the band, with Guayucaltia. And then as a solo artist with my band, when I played the 25th, I played solo, you know, a couple of pieces. I think it was amazing because I remember people were very appreciative because, I mean, they were playing bands and I just did just a solo guitar. And I think, you know, it sounds like good sound system, big, and, you know, anyway, I like it.
I have to ask you, does it feel naked when you play solo versus with a band?
It's very difficult.
How so?
Because with a band, you can relax a little bit, maybe not play something, and, you know, the band is covering. Solo, it's 100% attention, focusing. And then your chops have to show. You have to really practice a lot. You know, you have to practice 100% maybe to display 80 or 70% in showtime, yeah.
Earlier you talked about migration and how that affected the diaspora, the folks coming into the United States. What about the migration of Los Angeles? How have you seen Los Angeles change throughout that time?
Since I sometimes I'm a hermit because I work in my studio all the time. Sometimes or when I'm recording something, when I go to town, down to town, I see a difference. Every time that happens to me, I see a difference in the crowd, people, how they behave towards me. In the past, I would speak English all the time. My name was Ciro. Now I say Ciro. Now I don't have to pretend that my name is Ciro. I say Ciro. When I go to the market, people speak, you know, English. They come to me, they switch to Spanish right away. I love going to bars. And the crowds are so diverse. You know, I mean, you see everything. I say I'm almost like relieved because I see this is Los Angeles now. This is how I envision, and this is how it's supposed to be. So I see a great future, really. I like it.
In an interview with you, you said something. You write lyrics, but you're not a lyricist. And I wonder if that transfers over to your photography. Do you find photography to be your lyrics?
It's interesting the way you put it. I never heard of that before, but now that you tell me, yes, because it's visually I can transmit something to people that sometimes maybe with music, since it's not three-dimensional now.
Yeah. What got you into photography, and what do you like to shoot?
When my father saw my interest in guitar and saw no future, he told me and because I was going to university in Peru, he managed to get me to go to university, a private, because no public university would take me. My grades were so horrible, so I went to this university. But I was gigging already, and I remember my father. Once I found him crying at home. I mean, he'd had a couple of drinks, obviously. He told me, I just went to your school and they don't know who you are. I mean, your name is there, but you don't have any grades, nothing. For 2 years, I've been paying. And he said, amongst other things, why you could be a photographer. He said, you could take up, ID pictures in downtown. You could open a shop. You could sell, film, sell cameras. Take pictures. I mean, you could make a living out of that. You could be a good one, because I was already taking pictures. There is a picture of my early band it was a selfie. I remember taking the camera, putting it on the table, putting the timer, and I taking a picture, and it's on the web. When I see this picture, I said, wow, I had the vision of taking a camera to one of my rehearsals. I was a little kid, I was a little boy, and taking a picture of my band. I mean, who is going to think of that? I mean, especially at that age, but I thought of that. I brought the camera, put the film, and I took quite a few pictures. And then, so when I wasn't really playing into guitar, there was photos. And I take wildlife. I have thousands of photographs of deer, because I go up to the lake and I take deer. I mean, really, all the positions, all the poses, smiling, I have deer.
Do you like wildlife? Do you like getting away from the madness of LA?
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, I live pretty much here because I go to a trail and I walk at night, just with my flashlight.
You're very visual.
Yeah.
I like the way you talk. It's very visual. Speaking of visual, grand performances, I love when I stand on that stage and I look out and I see those buildings and I see the people and I see the colors. What do you see when you're on stage at grand performances?
At the beginning, when I started playing there, I saw the water, the pond that they had in between, right in front of the stage. And then I saw people way at the back. So it was that, but it was the beautiful, because you could see water, people, and then all these skyscrapers. It's a very metallic, industrial, I mean, concrete, city. You are in the middle of the city, and the city of Los Angeles. So it's a different vibe, but it's a really nice vibe, because you can see the people. I mean, they come from all over.
I think about you on that stage. You're very, you're regimented. You like your thing. Mm-hmm. You're very much, you're aware of acoustics. You're very visual. Mm-hmm. So I assume that you on that stage, you must feel so many different sensations, visual, audio, and the emotions, the energy of the people, the vibrations.
Yeah, of course, because now I bring a camera. Besides doing the sound, I'm with a camera and I'm doing sometimes this. I go backstage because I love pictures backstage, so I take pictures backstage. I practice and I go on stage practicing and start playing, because I have to warm up. I'm completely a freak about that.
But if I get this correct, if I understand correctly, you were playing at grand performances and then you went on to headline the Hollywood Bowl for a performance.
Yes.
Talk about that transition from the open space to a bigger open space.
Yeah, bigger sound. Yeah, your guitar sounds huge. And the interesting thing, I mean, it's I have played for big crowds, mainly festivals, not headlining, but the Hollywood Bowl. I remember once we ended the song, there was silence. I said, wow, they didn't like it. It's because sound travels. It took a while,
Yeah, the delay.
The delay for the applauses to get to you. I mean, that was amazing. Yeah, amazing.
What makes grand performances different from anywhere else you've played? Because you played tons of shows all over, but what makes grand performance special?
Well, grand performances, first is special because they invited me for the first time. I mean, I really appreciate that.
It's like your first love, your first girlfriend.
Yes, the previous director, Alexander. I mean, he was a great guy. But grand performances, because it's very current with the city vibe. The city vibe is grand performances. Music, whatever is happening in Los Angeles in this particular time, you can see it reflected in the music. You can see it reflected in the people who come. I've been there so many times as part of the audience, and I always go and walk around and see the people, the cool people, the young people. I mean, it's amazing. Visually, it's, as you say, overstimulating. I mean, and not only that, it's the sensation that I feel of the city. I mean, it goes beyond really words, how you can explain the vibe of a city, that you see it changing, throughout the years. That's how you see it at the grand performances.
I love how aware you are of coolness. As a kid, you wanted to be cool. Then you became cool, and now you go to the shows and you still see the cool kids.
Oh yes,
Like you're tapped into the now, and that's one of the things that I think makes you special and different. And you hear it in your music. And by the way, I can't let you go without congratulating you on your Grammy nomination.
Well, the first 70 years are the most difficult ones. That was supposed to be a joke, like a crash.
Oh, wait, you said 70. I thought you said 7.
70. I turned 70.
Okay, gotcha.
A couple of weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Well, I've been nominated for a Latin Grammy this year, and then a Grammy. The Latin Grammy, I got the news. One morning, I get this call. Someone screaming, venezolano. Yes, I go, maestro. So I went to check first before jumping, just to make sure, they're not like very emotional, because you have all these angst for years, that your music is not being heard, this is gonna really, the whole idea to expose your work. That's the whole idea of a Latin Grammy. And now with the Grammy, this is global. I mean, in a world stage now, you see the people in my category there, 3 Africans, 1 Spanish, and I think I'm representing Latin America now.
That must be something. You were once that kid who wanted his song on the radio, and now you're up for a Grammy, and you're representing the Latin sound. Like, that's just a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
That journey.
That is wonderful, that journey, because I have worked not only with the music from Peru, but I can play, you name it, Argentina, Brazil. I can play music from Venezuela, from Colombia. I can play música jarocha. You name it. I can play almost guajiras de Cuba. Pretty much every single rhythm, style, dance from Latin America. I can do it. Tangos. I do everything. So pretty much, I guess I have all of that I have learned here. I didn't learn it when I lived in Peru. I learned all of that because with all the immigrants, we all came here from different countries, and they are my friends, and we got gig together. So that's how I learned in Los Angeles.
70 years.
Yes.
That's amazing. You look like you're 45.
Oh, thank you very much. You're very kind.
I'm serious, but that's not a joke. You look very young.
Well, maybe the music helps a little bit.
What keeps you going, musically speaking?
Oh, create. I mean, the ideas I have. I mean, I would like to do this. I'd like to do that. My attention deficit, that I starting a song, and then I go to working another song. So I start working so many songs, and at the same time, creativity.
Well, we're so honored that you were able to join us and tell your story. And on behalf of Grand Performances, we thank you so much for everything you've done for not just the city of Los Angeles, but for the world. And for just your artistic integrity is inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me in your program, and hello to everybody, and bye.
A big thank you to Ciro Hurtado for making the time to hang out with us right here on GP360. Again, at the time of this recording, he was a Grammy-nominated artist for Best Global Music Performance at the 68th Grammy Awards in 2026 for the track Cantado en el Camino. And as a bonus, we're going to play that song in its entirety. We are rooting for you, sir. And with that being said, let's take a listen. Let's hit play, and then we'll do some station business at the end. Sound good? Okay, let's get into it.
desde esa esquina del río en la niebla, con tu pelo largo y tu piel Cuando tú suspiras con la brisa tibia que en tu andar se inspira, sombras y reflejos, ecos de tu rastro, sigo tu silueta del río a la alameda.
Amazing Ciro Hurtado, guest right here on GP360. We hope you enjoyed this episode, made possible with support from listeners like you. Yes, I'm talking to you. And for more information on becoming a GP member, donating, or maybe attending our 40th season for free summer concerts at California Plaza in downtown LA, make sure you visit grandperformances.org. My name is Anthony Valadez. A big thank you to everybody for listening, and have a wonderful day. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.